The weekend is here and it is some sumptuous games, alright. We're going to be dissecting the first one, which is, of course, Mumbai against Hyderabad with Brian Lara. Don't go anywhere because you don't want to miss this. Yup, we're back with yet another Criclytics Man vs Machine. And what you guys up to, let us know in the comments below. But you can also find out what Brian's thinking about Mumbai versus Hyderabad right now. We'll get straight into the mix before wasting any other further time with all my banter, my long questions. Brian, I'm going to keep it short and simple. Mumbai or SRH?
I still have faith in SRH. I'm gonna go with SRH on this occasion again.
Yeah, because you've been a big fan of theirs, barring Rajasthan Royals, of course, with what, I don't know what Green Swarm has been telling you in your ear, but you've been certainly supporting the pink side. But let's stick to the orange side today because they're taking up against the champions of this tournament. And it really begs the question about their batting worries. If you were Trevor Bayliss, how would you reshuffle the pack?
Well, I think on the surface that they're playing on Chepauk, I think it's necessary that Kane Williamson has a go, because technically he's the best batsman, not just against spin bowling, again any sort of bowling. He's a world-class player. So it looks like if the totals at Chepauk is not going to be big totals, it looks like if a lot of the opposing captains and opposing bowling teams are going to put pressure on you with the ball in spinners' hands. So you want someone who can handle that. And what we saw happen, how they dismantled, how SRH dismantled in that last game is ridiculous. And, you know, you have a guy like Kane Williamson on the sidelines. You have to get him in. I mean, it might be at the expense of Bairstow. It might be at the expense of Jason Holder. Whoever it is, it's a key member to have in your team on such a surface.
Yeah, and the problem is, it's not the fact that it just happened twice. Just ask RCB fans, it's happened twice against them. SRH in particular, you get a look at how they've collapsed in the past. Since 2019, it really doesn't make for good reading. Let's speak about Mumbai Indians then, Brian, because they have to perhaps tinker their team to get that winning formula right. What would you do? Because Marco Jansen has seemed, of course, hot and cold. Still early days for the boy, but would you make any changes?
Yeah, most definitely. And, you know, surprisingly, it would not be for another overseas player. I think young Marco Jansen is a very good talent. He's definitely one that you want to keep around and have. But, again, the surface recommends certain things. I would actually play 3 overseas players and going with Jayant. Is it Jayant Yadav? Correct?
Yes, you got that spot on.
Pronunciation. I would go with the off spinner to make sure that you have that other spinning option in there. I know he played the finals last year, didn't play another game. I think it's a perfect opportunity to get him in to make sure that you bolster your spinning department up. The track is conducive to taking spin. It's very slow. You see how many wickets are falling in the death overs to spinners. That would be the change that I would make. I'd play just 3 overseas players: Trent Boult, Karen Pollard and Quinton de Kock.
Yeah, food for thought that, but given the fact that SRH just boasts to one left-hander in that top 5 really with David Warner, it will be an interesting matchup. That you can catch plenty of the other matchups on the cricket.com app using the Criclytics data, and it's quite mind-blowing. Speaking of the surface, Brian, because you've touched upon it twice, not in the first question but in the second, that just holds the important value. So I'm going to put you to the test now with our 1-minute pitch. And here goes. So this is what we've come up to pick your brain about. What is the best strategy in the death overs in Chepauk? Because we've seen teams flounder.
Well, I think first of all, you've got to appreciate the fact that this is not a track. If teams have very good spin bowlers, or even if they have fast bowlers that can rip the ball into the wicket, put some underspin on it, you're not going to get 60, 70 runs in the last 5 overs. If you get 50 runs in the last 5 overs, you've done very well. So first of all, I would try as much as possible to pick up 2s, the occasional boundaries. Make sure that the over that I pick up a boundary very early, I still get 9, 10 runs by just pushing it around. Don't pick up a boundary and then lose a wicket. And then a new batsman comes in. And the way how things are going, another new batsman will be coming in the same over. Because people are just helter-skelter, thinking that they have to go very hard.
London buses is the phrase they use. The fact that you don't get 1 and then you get 2, and that's exactly what's transpired in the death overs, especially at Chepauk. Let's of course talk about Criclytics, the man vs machine prediction time, ladies and gentlemen, because it is fascinating Brian is, of course, steaming ahead of our robot, who's emotionless at this point of time, but is backing his gut to really get the wood over Brian in this one. So batsman-wise, who are you going for, Brian? Because I'll tell you, Criclytics suggests, wait for it, Surya Kumar Yadav.
I think I'm gonna go with Rohit Sharma at the top of the order to score the most runs. The opening batsmen in both teams will have the best opportunity to score until the ball gets a bit older and it's turning a little bit more. So I suspect that spin is going to be brought on for Quinton de Kock. So I don't feel that he's going to be up there scoring the most runs. So I'm going to give it to Rohit Sharma, who grafted and batted pretty slowly in the last innings, but he understands what it takes to stay out there and to put on partnerships for his team.
Yeah, Brian, Criclytics also suggests that Rohit Sharma slows down after the power play. In fact, he doesn't have a good strike rate. Maybe that's a concern for you, but you're banking certainly on the runs, so let's stick with Rohit Sharma. Let's move on to the bowlers then, because you like this. I think you might even agree with this. It's Rashid Khan who the Criclytics machine thinks.
I'm not going to go with Rashid Khan because I feel that exactly what's going on, that the opposition is going to try as much as possible to keep him out. That is just my feeling about what they're going to do against Rashid Khan. So I'm going to go with Natarajan. I believe that he's bowling excellent Yorkers. If there's any opportunity to get wickets at the end, I believe that he's going to do so. So I am going to go for a fast bowler instead of a spinner.
77, Brian, that's just a number that you need to keep in mind. The Yorkers that Natarajan has bowled since the IPL 2020, which is just leaps and bounds past everyone. So wish you good luck with that prediction. Moving on then to the all-rounders, because there is quite a few to choose from, and in fact Criclytics was scratching its head over this, so it suggested to either Nabi or Holder, whoever plays, that man will succeed. And from a Mumbai perspective, they're actually backing Kieran Pollard to flurry in this one, so you can give me two names too, considering the robots had two cracks at the cherry.
Well, I'm gonna go with Jason Holder. I feel that they're gonna continue with him. Nabi is I was surprised that they picked Jason Holder. Looking at the track, he didn't do anything wrong to be sub. So his height, his ability to get the ball to keep below the stump from a height is a very dangerous thing for the batsman. Everyone will be expecting a lot of bounce from a guy who is coming from 6'8". I think that he's also someone who can play spin very well. So I think that he is going to be my man to be the top all-rounder for the match.
Okay, sticking with one name, I love that. Let's move on to, of course, the wicket-keepers. Now, Quinton de Kock is just brilliant against the Sunrisers Hyderabad. He flourishes against that team the most. He hasn't had the run so far in the competition. Would you go for someone like Quinton de Kock, or would you go for someone like Ridhaman Saha or Johnny Bairstow for that matter? Ishan Kishan's also in the mix, by the way. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, well, I think they will not put Quinton de Kock back on the bench. They're going to give him a few opportunities. So he's going to play. So Ishan Kishan is not going to be in the mix for me. I think it's going to be Ridhaman Saha. Again, not a lot of runs on the board as yet, but I figure that Quinton de Kock will struggle on these surfaces, especially if he has to face any spinners. Ridhaman Saha ended the tournament very well last year. I'm hoping that he can at least come good in one match, especially this match for SRH.
Right, Ridhaman Saha, of course, flourishing the last time these two guys locked on in charge, and he played beautifully with Warner up top, which made them win by 10 wickets. Only time will tell if that could be the case. Right, lastly, match predictions. Will it be Mumbai? Will it be SRH? You hinted it up top of the show. I want you to go with your Criclytics prediction. Put sentiment aside, Brian, because 60% is the Criclytics verdict on this one.
Well, I'm going to go with SRH. I think that they've got to get off the mark. I still have them in the top 4 at the end of the tournament, making it to the playoffs. And they've got to get off. I mean, I think a third defeat is going to be really tough on them mentally and could really throw them off for the rest of the tournament. I don't believe that at the beginning of the tournament that I can be so bad in choosing a team that's actually going to be in this position after 3 games in the tournament. So points on the table for SRH.
Points on the table for SRH, and just wonder where your whereabouts are right now. Mumbai, right? So just be on the watch out there, considering you haven't picked the city that you're residing in at the moment. We'll leave it at that. It's been fun chatting with you, Brian. We'll catch you, of course, post-match to hold you on your predictions. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, join the cricket.com bandwagon, I was going to say. And you should do that because Criclytics is on it. The Fantasy Research Centre is on it. Enough said. Enough from me. Goodbye.